Have you ever thought of how society makes creative thoughts and personal happenings illegal? Look around downtown Chicago, walk into an office, and observe. People are walking fast, on their phones, and distracted from things that are just a bit more important in life, like the homeless man on the corners of State Street. I find it sad to say that, but America really does run on Duncan. So you go to the CTA, ride the Orange Line to Midway and back to the Loop. You'll see everyone on their phones listening to music, posting, gosh, so bored on Facebook, when there's a packed train full of people. What happened to risks? Go say hi to the cute girl you see across the train instead of looking at your friend and saying, yup, she's a 10. What happened to courage? In Mutual, we talk about how awful it is to say the N-word, and yet you watch kids say it out loud from your own school while there's an African-American sitting with his head low a few seats away. What happens to gentleman-like behavior? There's an old lady standing in front of about 6 Mutual students sitting on their phones and not offering their seat. Poor ladies, poor students. Poor people sitting in the CTA, slaves to society being whipped to stay in line by their phones, their job, and every other social norm expressed through top model magazines of what's hot and what's in now. See, over the course of Mutual College Prep, I've become part of a society sucked into downtown Chicago. Mutual is my job, and I run on medium hazelnut with extra cream and extra sugar. If there's anything I can tell you is that, as a senior, that I've learned is to find something you love, something you get motivated for, because Mutual, like the real world, will make you feel like there is no point to a routine homework, school, and sleep. See, over the course of my high school career, freshman year, I stayed after school in the old computer/library room and did not go home until I finished all my homework and asked teachers any questions I needed to. I was always on top of my work, working full of energy and motivated to make my family proud. See, I learned 2 things. 1, do not depend your motivation on pleasing someone else, but rather find self-motivation that makes you happy. I advanced so much as a writer my freshman year and I became top of my class. It was my own deathbed because after that, my parents, my advisor, and my teachers expected I would be valedictorian, something I decided was not important to me senior year, but I'll get to that later. I'm not telling you not to do good so you can have an easy high school career. I am saying I focused on my grades too much, more than what I actually focused on learning. Sophomore year. I do not remember my sophomore year or if it was any way ineffective to me. My English teacher was super nice, but I lost focus in my learning. I had straight A's, but my social life affected my will to care about learning outside the classroom. See, the classroom at Mutual College Prep, as well as the real world in office, you will solely work on developing skills to a general education that America thinks our students must have. Remember how I said we lost creativity? Well, yeah. See, sophomore year, I felt like I had it all. Junior year, it was the most annoying year. I lost my motivation to do anything. It was ACT and ACT only because to an American education system, the ACT measures if you're prepared for college by being able to read fast, do 60 problems in 60 minutes for math, find comma errors in English, and analyze a data table in science. Practice every weekend because the more you take the test, the better you'll be prepared. Anyways, by now you can see that I lost my meaning to what I wanted to do in my life. Me making my parents proud by giving some speech at the end of the year wasn't worth anything to me. Grades are not worth anything to me because I was so tired of measuring success. I felt like you should measure success by your personal reflection of hard work to reaching your goals. If you have no goals outside of developing skills, fitting in society, and being like everyone else, then why are you even alive? I say this because anyone could be you. If you're living to be like everyone else, why are you living? What is the purpose and what makes you different? What makes you happy? See, by senior year, I had a bad case of I do not really care about anything and I don't want to do anything. We call it senioritis. My grades in the last 3 years and my ACT got me into Cornell University with a full ride. Writing my personal essay, I remembered why I was able to get into Cornell, because I cared about learning outside the education system. I started to read a lot about American politics, psychology, and heck, there was even a whole book about soccer and economics around the world I read this year for no reason. I even took the time to check out Stephen King. Found out he is the best author still alive. I really recommend you read his books. See, I did stuff for me, and man, did my grades drop. And I was not balancing my grades at all with what made me happy, and because I thought Mutual was dumb and not valuable to me anymore. But I learned that in the real world, life is a game. Some of us play it at a higher level. Some of us get lucky and get to skip levels. Some of us are more talented in playing the game, and some of us just hate games and decide last place isn't so bad. But I failed at this game my senior year because I decided to do things I love. See, my life has become limited in many ways in which I cannot explain entirely in this video. But now that doing the things you love is important, but the things you love are only the things you love because they make you feel alive. And Mutual in the world that makes you feel like you're like the Walking Dead. See, as sad as it is to say it, I am the walking dead in many ways, but I should advise you to make sure your grades are up and you are learning, not just completing homework to avoid yourselves or any other punishment. Then find the time to do the things you love outside of school. Read a book, play a sport, join a club, help out your community, clean your room, clean your siblings' room, stay away from bad drugs, work out, study, do something that no one else is interested in, live, and remember to be happy. I cannot tell you what will make you happy. That is something you find inside you for yourself. You can only find it if you take a step back, put down your phone, and think. Lose yourself in thought and make up crazy creative ideas that the world would think will never happen because, who knows, one day you'll be in college developing further your knowledge and skills and become the next innovator of our century. Be your own influence and be your own happiness.